When the Zyrith Empire kidnapped 5 human women from a quiet Earth town, they thought they were capturing weak creatures. They had no idea they had just triggered humanity's most ancient and unbreakable instinct: protect our own, no matter the cost. And what followed shook the entire universe. The night the abductions happened, the town of Greenfield was silent. Too silent that a soft hum rolled across the rooftops, like distant thunder without clouds. Dogs barked. Lights flickered. At 2:17 a.m., 5 beams of blue light stabbed down from the sky like spears thrown by God, and 5 human women disappeared. Not soldiers, not politicians, not trained operatives, just ordinary women living ordinary lives. Sarah Blake, a schoolteacher who stayed up late grading test papers. Mia Torres, a nurse finishing her night shift. Riley Grant, the tough mechanic who could fix a truck with her eyes closed. Hina Shah, an engineering student typing her final year project. Emma Brooks, a single mother, cleaning toys off the floor after putting her little boy to sleep. The Zyrith Empire didn't care who they were. To them. They were simply samples, organisms to be studied. But to Earth, they were everything. The moment the abduction was detected, global panic erupted. Military radars traced the alien craft only for seconds before it jumped into faster-than-light space. It vanished beyond the reach of human technology, but not beyond human determination. By morning, world leaders assembled in an emergency council. All differences were set aside: political, religious, ideological. Flags stopped mattering. Borders stopped mattering. For the first time in the planet's history, humanity spoke with one voice. That a message was broadcast into deep space from every satellite, every radio telescope, every probe. To whomever took our people, return them immediately. This is your only warning. No reply came. NASA, ESA, Roscosmos, CNSA, ISRO, and every military organization on Earth pooled their assets into one command: the Human Retrieval Task Force. Thousands volunteered. Millions demanded action. People who had never met the 5 women marched in the streets holding their photos. The world changed overnight. Humanity had a purpose powerful enough to override centuries of conflict. Bring them home. Inside the alien ship, the 5 women regained consciousness inside containment pods, unaware of the global storm forming behind them. Even more unaware that the Zyrith Empire had just made the worst mistake in galactic history, because there was one thing the universe still didn't understand: humans don't stop. Humans don't surrender. And when someone threatens their people, they transform into something the stars have learned to fear. Inside the alien ship, the 5 women realized quickly that this was no ordinary captivity. The Zyrith scientists had expected fear, obedience, and quiet compliance. They got the opposite. Sarah refused to answer questions, staring defiantly at the scanning equipment. "You won't learn anything from me," she said. Mia ignored the alien guard's attempts at intimidation, focusing instead on memorizing the layout of the facility. "Fear doesn't belong to us," she whispered to the others. Riley tested the walls and doors. One kick shattered a scanner. The alarm blared, but she didn't flinch. "You should have built this stronger," she muttered. Hina studied the control panels like she was in a lab, not a prison. Each blinking light and strange symbol became a part of her mental map. She could already see the weak points. Emma, clutching the memory of her son, refused to eat until the guards promised her that no harm would come to children. She became the anchor for the group, her calm courage inspiring everyone around her. The Zyrith scientists exchanged nervous glances. No species had ever reacted this way. No species had ever organized themselves from the inside of a containment pod. Far away, humanity was already moving. The Human Retrieval Task Force was gathering faster than any alien intelligence could track. Outdated ships from old Earth programs were retrofitted for combat. Engineers and programmers hacked alien navigation systems with shocking speed. Ex-military volunteers trained civilians in boarding tactics, assault drills, and emergency extraction. Commanders whispered among themselves. Humanity was reckless, disorganized, but there was a fire in their eyes that no technology could measure. Back on the ship, the women began their plan. They weren't soldiers, but their ingenuity and determination were formidable. Hina calculated the timing of security rotations. Riley started disabling small systems piece by piece. Mia kept the group focused, tending to minor injuries and morale. Sarah coordinated communication between the women, assigning tasks. Emma ensured no one panicked, reminding them why they had to survive. And above all, one truth became clear. The aliens had underestimated them. They thought humans were fragile, predictable, weak. They were wrong. Across the galaxy, the first human task force ships entered Zyrith-controlled space. The first warning was simple and terrifying. Return our people or face humanity. The aliens laughed. They had no idea that what they had captured inside the ship, the 5 women, were just the beginning of a storm they could not survive. For humanity, it wasn't about weapons. It wasn't about fleets. It wasn't about strategy. It was about willpower, unity, and unshakable purpose. And that was about to collide with the arrogance of an empire. The Zyrith Empire believed themselves invincible. Their fleets spanned hundreds of star systems. Their weapons could level planets. And yet, they had never faced humans in a crisis like this. The first human ships jumped into Zyrith-controlled space without warning. Old Earth freighters, retrofitted with mining armor and scavenged energy cannons, tore through patrol lines like meteors. Their formations were chaotic by alien standards, but every move had a purpose. Every strike was precise. Every human crew carried one thought: bring our people home. Meanwhile, inside the alien ship, the 5 women were no longer passive prisoners. Hina had already mapped the entire facility in her mind. She identified the weak points in the security system: a junction of corridors, an unguarded vent, a backup power line. Riley disabled the gravity stabilizers in one sector, causing alien guards to stumble and alarms to misfire. Mia cleverly repurposed medical tools to short-circuit patrol drones, creating pockets of safe passage. Sarah coordinated their movements silently, signaling when it was safe to move and when to hide. Emma rallied everyone, including terrified alien prisoners, with one simple declaration: we leave together. No one stays behind. The Zyrith command didn't understand what was happening. Humans were supposed to cower. Humans were supposed to beg. Humans were supposed to obey. Instead, the humans inside the ship were dismantling their systems from within, while the humans outside were tearing through the fleet with reckless precision. Alerts blared across the Zyrith bridge. Unauthorized boarding detected. Energy shields compromised. Escape pods engaged without authorization. Panic rippled through the Empire. The Zyrith High Council convened, demanding immediate containment. But the humans were faster, unpredictable, and utterly relentless in orbit. Human ships didn't just attack. They adapted. They rammed patrol vessels to disable weapons, launched boarding pods with surgical accuracy, and hacked navigation arrays in minutes. Every alien system they touched began to malfunction, turning the Zyrith's own technology against them. And inside the ship, the women reached the final gate to their holding area. One last barrier, one final locked door. Riley's hands worked the alien keypad like it was a puzzle she had solved 1,000 times. Hina's calculations ensured they had enough time before the next patrol. Mia monitored the corridors. Sarah and Emma guided the terrified alien prisoners out of harm's way. And then the door clicked open. The storm was about to break. The women were free, or at least nearly free. The galaxy was about to witness something no alien had ever seen. Humans fighting with purpose, unity, and unbreakable resolve. The Zyrith had thought they were the hunters. They were about to realize they were the prey. The moment had arrived. The human task force, battered but unbroken, emerged from hyperspace above the Zyrith capital ship. Thousands of alien warships lined up in perfect formation, their weapons bristling like the teeth of a galaxy-wide predator. The Zyrith High Council's message was clear: you are insignificant. Retreat or die. Admiral Reeves, commanding the human fleet, replied with a single message: stand down. Last chance. No reply. The first human boarding pods hit like comets. They pierced the hulls of Zyrith dreadnoughts with kinetic force the aliens had never anticipated. Soldiers poured out, not in perfect military formations, but in a coordinated storm of chaos. Their armor reinforced, their weapons scavenged and adapted, their minds focused on one mission: rescue their people. Inside the alien ship, the 5 women were moments from freedom. Alarm screamed. Alien guards fired blindly, their panic growing. Riley disabled the final force field. Hina manipulated the power grid, plunging sections of the ship into darkness. Mia guided the terrified alien captives to cover. Sarah and Emma took point, pushing everyone forward with one unbreakable rule: no one gets left behind. Then, the first clash occurred. Human soldiers met Xyrath troops in the corridors. Energy beams slammed against mining armor and shattered consoles. Explosions shook the ship. Every move the aliens made was anticipated, countered, and exploited. Outside, Admiral Reeves' fleet fought with fury. Their cannons tore through the alien formations. Boarding pods deployed in waves, overwhelming the Xyrath defenses. Their ships weren't the most advanced, but their crews were relentless. Every human knew a single truth: their people were inside that ship, and they would not fail. Finally, the 5 women reached the evacuation chamber. Human reinforcements broke through the last Xyrath lines. Doors opened. Hands reached for them. Relief washed over the group like tidal waves in a coordinated strike. The human fleet unleashed a massive EMP pulse. Xyrath command networks failed. Ships lost control. The Empire's fleet, once proud and untouchable, was thrown into chaos. For the first time in galactic history, a species known for subjugating countless others realized a terrifying truth: humans do not surrender, and they will stop at nothing to protect their OWNI. In that moment, humanity did not fight as individuals or as soldiers. They fought as one unstoppable force, united by purpose, courage, and unshakable loyalty. The Xyrath had underestimated the smallest, most ordinary part of humanity. They had kidnapped people who refused to be victims, and that mistake would cost them everything. The battle was over, but the echoes of destruction still rippled through space. The Xyrath fleet, once feared across hundreds of star systems, drifted in disarray. Ships floated powerless, their crews disoriented and panicked. The High Council had never imagined humans could fight with such ferocity and coordination. Inside the alien vessel, the 5 women stepped out of the evacuation pods. They were exhausted, bruised, and battered, but alive. Each one carried a fire that no alien technology could ever extinguish. Their courage had become the spark that ignited the full force of humanity. Sarah looked at the chaos around her. "We did it," she whispered, disbelief still in her voice. Mia shook her head, eyes scanning the corridors for any remaining threats. "We did what we had to do. We survived." Riley cracked a small, triumphant smile. "And we showed them that humans aren't easy to break." Hina nodded, already calculating how to help repair critical systems to save stranded alien prisoners. "It's not over yet. There's work to do, both for us and them." Emma finally allowed herself a deep breath. "We leave together. Everyone, no exceptions." The human task force moved swiftly, escorting the women and remaining alien prisoners to safety. Each boarding pod carried not just survivors, but a message to the galaxy: humans protect their own. No one is left behind. For the Xyrath Empire, the lesson was catastrophic. Their council convened, trembling before a simple, undeniable truth: they had underestimated humanity. Their enemies were not the most technologically advanced. They were not the largest or the fastest. But humans were united by purpose, relentless, and fearless when defending their own. Reports spread across the galaxy. Aliens who had long suffered under the Xyrath Empire saw the power of human resolve firsthand. Revolts erupted on multiple planets. Entire colonies that had been oppressed for centuries rose up, inspired by the courage of 5 women and the force that humanity had unleashed. The universe was changing, not because humans had the strongest weapons, but because they had the strongest will. The 5 women returned to Earth as heroes. Their faces were familiar, yet now legendary. Sarah, Mia, Riley, Hina, and Emma had not only survived, they had turned a galactic abduction into a cosmic victory. And across the stars, one unshakable message began to spread. Do not take humans lightly. Do not threaten their people, because when you do, they will come. The aftermath of the rescue echoed across the galaxy. The Zyrith Empire, humiliated and broken, had no choice but to surrender. They offered reparations, treaties, and promises, but Earth's leaders imposed strict conditions. No more abductions, freedom for all enslaved species, joint exploration and collaboration under human supervision. The message was clear. Humanity protects its own, and no empire will ever ignore that again. Back on Earth, the 5 women were celebrated not just as survivors, but as symbols of unyielding human spirit. Sarah Blake, who had kept everyone organized and focused. Mia Torres, whose calm courage had guided them through chaos. Riley Grant, who had fought with unmatched strength and ingenuity. Hina Shah, whose intellect and quick thinking had cracked the impossible. Emma Brooks, whose heart reminded them all why survival mattered. They had not just returned home, they had changed the galaxy. Across star systems, alien civilizations whispered the same lesson. Humans are not the fastest, the strongest, or the most advanced. But when it comes to family, loyalty, and purpose, humans are unstoppable. In the council chambers of countless species, diplomats spoke cautiously, remembering the story of 5 Earth women who had sparked a revolution that toppled an empire. The galaxy learned a simple truth. Humans do not leave their own behind. Humans fight for what they love. Humans never surrender. And so, the legend grew. Across planets, moons, and space stations, the tale of the Greenfield women spread, a story of courage, resilience, and the fierce, unshakable power of humanity. The Zyrith learned the ultimate lesson too late. They had not kidnapped humans. They had awakened them. And when humans are awakened, the universe itself takes notice.